what do you think is the future of data pipelines, and how is Taipei addressing these kinds of pain points that organizations are experiencing with their data pipelines?
Very good question. My feeling is that it's still a not so mature area. Um, that's why we wanted to start with a good graphical tools. I mean, there's nothing like graphics to share across a team of development. Um, so that participates to the, I feel, to the best practices. So that you first design graphically your and quickly your pipelines. You can share that with the team. Of course, there are situations where you may need to use a program to build your pipeline, because there are situations where your pipeline is dynamic. You don't know in advance what the pipeline will look like. So we have this option still, but most of the time your pipeline basically can be drawn on a graphical editor. So that's very important. Some of the features that we'll be looking at are, of course, to improve. Um, um, of course, with Taipy, you execute those pipelines. You have this concept of scenario, which we thought was very important to bring to the table. In terms of um the roadmap, there are important things that will be coming soon. One is to stop having dags. You remember all these pipelines are supposed to be dags.
Yeah, actually, this whole time that you've been talking about this, I've been imagining that this is a directed acyclic graph, a DAG.
Exactly. So
So,
now we'll
so
have to
these
find.
aren't.
No, well, at this stage, they still are, but I want to get rid of this. We need to get rid of that. Simply, we need to have if nodes appear in a DAG where you can go back. That's very useful when you want to model drift, especially graphically. I want to see this node where you can write rules to be able to detect, for instance, the reason for retraining. So we are going to have to go back. Of course, the cycle cannot be uh, basically looping, so there will be some limits to that. But we will be provide this in future release. Um, we would like also to. There are a few books that have been addressing this, but to come up with templates, pipeline templates. They are good practices. I still talk to students or even people who are starting in the career of data scientists, and they really forget what are the best practices for doing their algorithm. So here I'm talking about specifically about machine learning, how you do the testing and all these things. So this will help a lot if you had template available. So we plan to have a way to store pipeline templates, a little bit like Hugging Face, but on the template side, not on the model side. There is a big opportunity here, we feel. And of course, the company itself to build its own pipeline to be reused by other developers and newcomers. And there is a lot of work to be done on that field.
Yeah, and I think something that ties into that that you guys really excel at Taipei is data pipeline versioning.
Absolutely. So this is something also. So here we're not talking about the code versioning. We are not even talking about the versioning a la MLOps. So where you have we have registries, different versions for your machine learning. You could do that, but I think MLOps is really the best tool for doing that. We're talking about the pipeline itself. When you build a pipeline, and the pipeline goes way beyond the pipeline of just doing, the training and the testing. It's also there's a pipeline after scoring that you need to model. When you start doing this, um, it's kind of your pipeline is doomed to evolve. You may discover that you have a great external data source that will benefit your model. Um, Again, I'm talking about the context of machine learning, but it works in other contexts where you don't necessarily do machine learning, where you have a new data source, where you have a new task that you want to add, and your previous run that you have kept for the past 12 months don't work anymore. So you need to version your pipeline and to have also the tools to be able to migrate your previous run so that they still work with the new version of your pipeline. So that's something which is also fairly unique and that we bring to the table here for with Taipy Core.
Nice. And that must be great not only for when an individual makes adaptations to a pipeline, but also, of course, you made that point of across the organization. A newcomer comes in, they can see, okay, this is how things are today. I can see it clearly graphically, and you can see this history of how it evolved to where it is today.
Absolutely. Yeah, you need absolutely to be able to do simple comparison between versions that will tell you, oh, you can't use that because this new data node has been added on that date, on this algorithm. It has a completely different version number or is new, brand new. So yeah, you need to track that and you need to have different behaviors, whether you are in production mode or just in staging mode or just development mode.